Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. How gold and silver bullion premiums are calculated. Let's explore! We are taking a look at a very old, as in about 6 years old, back when silver was a lot less and gold was a lot less in price than it is now. There's a lot of excitement in the gold and silver precious metals community right now with the prices where they're at. More importantly, the premiums and where they are at. This is from Visual Capitalist and an infographic from J.M. Bullion. And I think history does tell us a little bit about how these premiums are calculated. And they really pretty much nailed it in this infographic here. The price paid for each ounce of bullion is composed of the metal spot price and the bullion premium. So really that's the two basic fundamental foundations of what constitutes the price for gold and silver and any of the precious metals, including platinum, palladium, and even rhodium. The average price composition of common bullion we look at here, we have three different coins. Well, for gold, you have a much lower premium over spot price, and this is one reason why I have been moving and gravitating more towards gold, because you pack a lot more wealth in a smaller space and you pay a lot lower premium. Although 4% premium now would be a dream these days. It's a lot more than that. And then you have sovereign nation coins such as the Maple Leaf, Britannia. You've got the Rand. You've got the Kruger Rand in silver and in gold as well too. But all these other sovereign coins have about a 16% premium, and 84% of the price of the coin is in spot price. Of course, it's a lot more than that nowadays. With Eagles, you have the most premium, or for your coin of the realm, so to speak. Usually, the premiums are a little bit more there, but I tell you what, for Silver Eagles, I think no matter where you go, the premiums are much higher. And in this case, it's about 4% more than the Maple Leafs and other sovereign nation coins, 20%. But here, recently, we've seen it at 35, 40% of the premium. And there's been times when it's been 50% when the spot price is lower. Depends on a lot of different factors, and we'll explore that. So an 80-20 split there. So how are these bullion premiums determined? How come bullion buyers take advantage of the lowest possible premiums? And you have to understand really what is that difference between spot price and premiums. Spot price is the current price per ounce exchange on global commodity markets. We've actually talked about this pretty much in depth. You have the differences between bid price and ask price. The ask price is the foundation from which premiums are built at the time of selling the bullion products to you. The bid price is the foundation from which they buy it from you. So if you were to resell it back to them, they're going to give you a percentage either above or below bid price, also known as melt price. So that premium is additional price charged for a bullion product over its current spot price. The calculation for bullion premiums depends on 5 key factors. The current bullion market supply and demand factors. Very important, especially these days. There's a lot of demand and supply issues that are going on in the market. That is a direct effect on the premiums that we're seeing. And this was from years ago, they've mentioned this, and that's the number one. Then the volume of bullion offered or bid upon, and that's essentially somewhat tied to the bullion market, but maybe some of that could be that offered to bid upon could be within the COMEX or the LBMA. And of course, they're very controversial these days, both those organizations. Then the bullion seller's objective, and this is coming to us from J.M. Bullion, which was had recently acquired now Provident Metals, and both of those have been acquired by A-Mark Precious Metals. So what are their objectives? Well, the bullion seller's objectives is to make a profit. So the premium is going to be also tied to that. They need to make a profit on the sales that they make, and they're doing very well right now. A lot of bullion dealers are. And the reason for that is because of the sheer volume. It's not so much that they're making more per coin or per bullion product, because they are paying higher premiums for the products that they get too. More on that later. Then we have the type of bullion products being sold, and that was somewhat illustrated here. For bars and generic rounds, there's going to be less of a premium for both gold and silver in those regards. Then local, national, and global economic conditions. That's a big one too. And right now, there's a lot of national and global economic conditions that are playing a part. Locally, some people have been saying that depending on where you go, you can't find silver or you can't find gold. Other places say they have a pretty good supply. So a lot of it just depends on the local area and the economic conditions in that area. So let's talk a little bit about bullion supply and demand. The total amount of supply and demand of bullion is a major influence on the bullion product premiums. Fluctuations in the gold and silver markets affect bullion market supply, and this impacts premium prices. For example, in the Western Hemisphere during the summer, calmer price patterns means the bullion supply tends to increase. Sellers mark down their prices to attract the market share. That's your typical summer. We haven't had a typical summer in a little while now. Then during the other months, silver and gold prices tend to have more volatility. This leads to increased buying and selling, and bullion sellers react accordingly. Some may mark up prices to prevent running out of inventory or to capture profits. We've heard that talk been bantering about among the community for a while, speculating as to why bullion dealers maybe even stop selling during these times, even though they may hedge themselves. So here on this other side, it says that bullion dealers are businesses, and they are actively trying to balance product inventory and profitability. Too much inventory equals higher cost. Too little inventory equals angry customers. You have to meet that balance. And I tell you what, it's a fine line many times for sure. So what about the economic conditions? Depending on their size and significance, market events can affect bullion premiums on either local or even global levels. So in a small town with only one brick and mortar coin shop, the dealer may boost their premiums to guard against running out of inventory. I know that's happened in my local coin shop from time to time. In a country like Venezuela, on the national level, where the local currency is losing value at an extreme rate, and this infographic was in 2015, that's when they kind of started there, locals may opt to buy bullion to preserve their wealth. That means higher premiums and inflation added to that. On a global level, an event similar to a large crisis, such as the 2008 financial crisis, it is likely premiums would increase significantly as demand spikes and supplies diminish. Many people think we are at the crux, and we have been through a midst of another crisis, the pandemic, but another financial crisis akin to 2008, but worse. So let's talk a little bit about the volumes being sold. Every seller incurs costs on each transaction, such as time, overhead, or payment processing cost. For seller, a single transaction for a 1 ounce of gold may have a similar transaction cost as a 100-ounce transaction. Therefore, transactions with higher volumes of bullion have their costs spread out. As a result, premiums tend to be higher or small on small volume purchases and lower on high volume purchases. Think about that. If someone buys a 1 ounce coin, or the minimum order, let's say to get free shipping, of $200 worth of silver, and the time it takes for that bullion dealer to put that order together may not be much more for a 100-ounce bar or 200-ounce bars. Same amount of energy transacted. Same thing for gold. Somebody that's going to buy 10 ounces of gold, it's going to be just as easy to do 10 ounces of gold as it would to be 1 ounce of gold as far as processing time and materials at the dealers. So the form of bullion for sale, as a general rule, the larger the piece of bullion, the less the premium costs are per ounce, and that makes total sense. It costs a mint far less to make one 100-ounce silver bar versus 100 1-ounce rounds. That makes total sense, for sure. Think about it, striking costs, fees to put it together and package it, and the like. So coins typically have more costs associated with it. Rounds, even though this is a sovereign nation bullion, they should have put it like a generic buffalo there. 10-ounce bars, 1-ounce bars, the cost makes sense, right? Larger the size, smaller the premium. There's also typically a significant difference in premiums between government and private mint bullion products. For example, the most popular bullion coins in the world are American silver and gold eagle coins. The U.S. Mint charges a minimum of $2 now, that's $2.50 per ounce over spot for each silver eagle coin, and 3% over spot for each gold eagle coin they strike and sell to the world's bullion dealer network. Those are known as APs, authorized purchasers, right now. I think there's about 18 of those companies that handle those. A private company like Sunshine Minting will sell their silver rounds and bars in bulk for less than half the premium most government mints will sell their products for. It should be noted that Sunshine Minting is one of the major suppliers of blanks to the United States Mint. So what is the bullion seller's objective? Let's see how transparent JM Bullion is here. Whether the seller is a large bullion dealer or a private individual, they will almost always want to yield the highest ask price they can get for the bullion they are selling. That's good to know that they're being honest, that they want to try to get as much out of it as possible. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they have to be competitive too. That said, just because one wants to receive a large premium on the bullion they are selling, that doesn't necessarily mean the market's demand or willing buyers will comply. That's paramount. That's the thing that keeps bullion dealers and really all businesses in check. That's the foundation for the free market system. Any company can charge whatever they want for whatever service or product that they offer. It's about the public's willingness to buy that product at that price, especially if you have competition. If JM Bullion has a Silver Eagle in this market now that we're in, and they want to sell that Silver Eagle for $50 when maybe APMEX or some other company may charge you $40 for it, where are you going to go buy that Silver Eagle? You're going to buy it from the competitor because it's going to be $10 cheaper there, even though it's still a high premium. So this is what keeps their price in check in that regard, is the public, is the market conditions, the market demands. Dealers must consider these factors when setting premiums. The market share objectives, competitor strategies, we just talked about, price equilibrium strategy. So if a dealer sets its price too high, buyers will likely choose to go to a lower price competitor. If a dealer sets their price too low, they could end up selling out of inventory without garnering enough profit margin to pay for the company's overhead cost. Dealers and sellers both typically trying to find the price equilibrium sweet spot where the time required to complete a sale is minimized and the seller's profit is maximized. This is why, by the way, you don't see a great disparaging price differential between bullion dealers, because they kind of find that sweet spot. It may be a couple of cents here or a dollar there. So therefore, this is more difficult than it sounds when you think about it, because there can be thousands of factors at play when establishing best possible premium to charge in line with one's overall objectives. And it depends on the health of the company, depends on the size of the company, the bullion dealer. So that's why some bullion dealers emphasize customer service, and they may throw in swag in there to kind of offset some of that other cost. But you think about it, with this narrow margin that you see between some of these bullion dealers, that means they have found this price equilibrium, this sweet spot. And many people interpret that to mean that they are in cahoots. They are essentially conspiring against us with these prices. But that's not the case. It's just that they have found the competitor strategies, the market share objectives, and price equilibrium strategies. But make no mistake, bullion dealer A, as opposed to bullion dealer B, if they find an advantage and a way to be able to cut cost, then they will do it in order to get you in. Even if it's on some products, they may take a loss leader on them. That's why you see so many different deals pop up and spring up from time to time on certain inventory items. That's the same thing with most everything in retail. I think a lot of people don't understand that when dealers record these record profits, it's really based off of volume that they have done over the course of time. And there's other areas where they lose money as well too on certain releases, but by and large, the major high demand bullion products, sheer volume of all the dealers are all doing well. But they're all also paying a little higher prices too in that supply chain. Some of them work with brokers, some of them work directly with the mint. And so those are the kind of factors and things you have to take into account. So let's take a look at spot versus premium, compositions of the world's most popular bullion products. So during times of normal market bullion demand, here's how much spot prices and premiums influence the overall prices for some of the most popular bullion products in the world. When bullion markets are experiencing normal demand, which is about 80 to 95% of silver's bullion price discovery is comprised of the current spot price. So Silver Eagle, it's 80-20 in a normal situation. We're not at normal situation now. Canadian Maple Leaf, it's about 16.84, a little slightly lower, but still relatively high. An RMC generic silver round, or private minted bullion is the correct term, 7% premium, 93 spot. So there's an example there with those. For bars, it's a little bit less. For a 10-ounce bar, you're paying a 6% premium. For a 100-ounce bar, it's a little bit less at a 5% premium. And I think this is why a lot of people don't go for these really large bars, because though you're saving a little bit, it's almost not worth it for the size, and they're not divisible. Whereas the 10-ounce bar seems to be a pretty good size for bulk to be able to save a little bit there. But there may be times where even the generics or the privately issued bullion rounds, you can get a fairly good deal. And a 2% spread between the 1 and 100-ounce bars, well, it's worth paying that 2% premium in a normal condition. And again, these are normal conditions, so it's fascinating to see how these numbers play out compared to percentages we're paying today. For gold, spot prices approximately comprise of 95 to 98% of the gold bullion's overall price discovery. Think about that for a moment. 80 to 95 for silver. A very wide spread, wide margins between those for silver in normal market conditions. But 95 is the top, and that's going to be here for the 100-ounce size. For gold, it's only a 3% differential between the price approximately for gold bullion's overall price discovery there. So let's go from the most expensive. It's an American Eagle, 4% premium, which is still lower than the 100-ounce silver bar. Fascinating indeed to see that. 3% on a gold Maple Leaf, 2% premium on a Pamp Suisse 1-ounce gold bar, and that's it, just 2%. And then 1.5% premium on a 1 kilo gold bar. So there you have it. Fascinating indeed to see how this plays out. So now I hope you understand a little bit better about how these premiums are calculated. In times of high bullion market demand, the percentage premiums comprise the overall price discovery of bullion increases substantially over what is illustrated above. And we are seeing that for sure these days. It is amazing to see the demand out there. That's where the squeeze is. It's squeezing higher premiums out of us, and it's squeezing the product out of them. That's the squeeze is working in two directions there. Might do more on that in another video, but nonetheless, there it is. Fascinating indeed. A very informative infographic. I think it's quite honest, refreshingly honest here from a bullion dealer from about 2015. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you found this video insightful and informative. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.